Back in to Durham, where we have the second game of our doubleheader today. It's the third game of the series. Louisville and Duke preparing to meet on the diamond as we welcome you back into the booth here. Patrick Johnson along with Joe Ferrara. You know, obviously Duke has claimed the series. If you missed it earlier, we're going to show you some highlights for that in a moment. But Jill, when you look at this, I mean, Louisville, I think we're going to find out a lot about where this program is based on how they respond. And then Duke, they've been so great at home in these instances where they're up 2 games and they could close out a series.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first series for Louisville. They definitely want to leave here with a win, but we've talked about all weekend just capitalizing on opportunities, and that's what we've seen this weekend with Duke. We've talked a lot about Anna Gold, but the person we haven't talked as much about yet is Amina Vega, and she has absolutely deserved the title of stud this weekend. She's had 2 doubles in clutch situations. You can see on screen absolutely blasting her first career home run for the freshman. I'm excited to see what else Amina Vega has left in the tank this weekend.
Duke's going to go with a veteran in the circle as they're going to be sending Jayla Wright, the junior from Charlotte, the Michigan State transfer, to get the start here against Louisville.
You know, this is a really interesting start. Obviously, we are not the Duke coaching staff. We do not know what's going on day to day. So I am by no means questioning Coach Young and her decision, but there are 2 unused normal starters in Cassidy Curd and Claire Davidson. It will be interesting to see how they utilize them, if at all, in this third game, giving Jayla Wright her second start of the weekend. What we do know is softball is a very long season. It's by no means a sprint and very much a marathon. So it'll be very interesting to see how Coach Young and staff utilizes the rest of the pitchers today.
Corby Otis will be the batter to start things in this second game. Second of twin bill here today.
Corby Otis batting .431, just incredibly dominant so far this season. Extremely consistent for this Louisville batting lineup.
And here we go, the first pitch of this second game, third of the series, and it is going to be at 66 miles an hour, called a strike.
Great job for Jayla Wright, someone who struggled a little bit yesterday in the first game, being taken out halfway through and being replaced with Lily Walker. Really interested to see if Jayla Wright is able to make the adjustments that she wasn't able to make yesterday. Coming in with back-to-back strikes, Jayla said, "Give me the ball, coach, I'm ready today."
3 2/3 on Friday, 5 hits, 3 runs. She walked 5 and struck out 4. That base on balls has been a problem this year. It's actually pushed past some opponents' runs, or pushed in some opponents' runs. She's had a problem hitting batters this year, but I think Coach Young has all the confidence in a pitcher last year that maybe was overshadowed a little bit by Peyton St. George and her excellence.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard to come into the circle behind someone like Peyton St. George. But you can see here she is answering to what Coach Young has requested from her, which is to step up. A really great job by Jayla Wright getting that first out of the first inning. We've talked a lot about setting the tone, and it looks like Jayla Wright is ready to do so. But going back to St. George for a second, she was the first commit for Coach Young for the Duke softball program, leaving as an All-American, taking the team to an ACC championship, also their first ever regional, and then also super regional, getting to host a regional. It's not easy to come behind someone like that. And so Coach Young's message to Jayla Wright has been to be herself. Focus on what you do. Don't try to do too much, just be you.
4 hits in the series for Sarah Gordon, who's in an 0-1 hole. Rolled on the ground, picked up by Davis at short, 2 away. Hannah File will bat next. You talk about Peyton St. George. 22-4 a season ago, 2.07 ERA, 155 and 2/3 innings. And for Coach Young's team, she had 190 strikeouts.
Yeah, just a dominant pitcher. But again, it's the nature of softball. The next person always has to step up. And Jayla Wright, along with the rest of the pitching staff for Duke, is going to have to do that. Now, one really great thing and a positive about this team is last year, Shelby Walters was hurt the majority of the season. So Peyton St. George had to come in and throw so many innings, as you can see here, sporting a barely over a 2.0 ERA. But you'll see here with the Duke team this year, it's not just Jayla Wright. She has a lot of arms behind her. And Coach Young is going to pitch by committee like we've seen a little bit so far this weekend.
Wright pitched in 27 games and made 19 starts in 2022. 13-5. Her ERA was 2.09 in 107 innings. Completed 5 games. As Jill mentioned, got chased from yesterday's game 1. And this ground ball will sneak through for File. So for Hannah File, she's had a hit in every game in this series so far. And she's aboard with 2 out.
Great job by File. Blasted a home run yesterday, being consistent today for Louisville.
Speaking of blasting a home run, a solo shot for Taylor Roby in game 2. The game earlier in our doubleheader. And you look at the Louisville softball chart, you're going to see the name Taylor Roby all over the books.
Leading career home runs right now by 4, and it's only the start of her senior season. Will be very exciting to see how many more home runs she's able to put on that leaderboard this year.
It was a gargantuan blast that she had in what was really a good and competitive at-bat to work the count in her favor in game 1.
Yeah, Roby is such an impressive hitter, and what makes her even more impressive is she is also the starting pitcher for Louisville, the veteran arm in the circle, a two-way player. I'm always so impressed by players that are dominant on both sides of the ball.
Good pitch there. Roby a wave and a miss. Right from Charlotte, Providence Day High School, went to Michigan State, just didn't work out. And with Duke starting a program, a chance to be closer to home, and she's had great success, but a big contributor, but having to step up in her role this year. This one hugging the line, and it will be a foul ball. Wow. That really carried down the line, and it bent foul, and it's going to be a harmless, loud strike, but that just shows you Roby, even going oppo, can take it out of the park.
Yeah, Wright is really, really grateful that ball tailed just a little bit right. That would have put 2 runs on the board early for Louisville. And Duke has had the lead both games, but it looks like this ball is far going to give Jennings a run for her money.
Oh, almost a collision there as Jennings converging over and almost collided there with Davidson. Louisville leaves a runner stranded. We'll go to the bottom half. Cardinals, nothing. Blue Devils coming to bat. Taylor Roby will start for the second straight game. Only went 3 innings in that first one, 4 hits. And she got touched up for 4 runs, 3 earned, a couple of walks, no strikeouts. So let's see what Roby can do as she will start the second game of this doubleheader. Here's the Duke lineup that she'll contend with. Davis, Jennings, Tapia, Kelly Torres in as the designated player batting cleanup. Anna Gold will drop to 5th. Rodriguez behind the dish. Vega, Davidson, and Frelick. Boy, with Torres' insertion into there, it just makes this lineup that much more difficult to contend with, Jill.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Duke has such a deep lineup that when one person isn't executing as well as Coach Young would like, there's someone to take that spot, and that can be both a positive and a negative for the team, because on one hand, you always have someone who's ready for the opportunity, but on the other hand, it can be tough as a player because you might not have the chance to kind of get that consistency and that feeling because you're always having to compete. But that's what Coach Young wants. She wants players that are competing for their spot day in and day out. And we see that with Deja Davis. I mean, she's so consistent. She has been on base, I think, every time.
5 times
so
today,
far.
yeah. 4 times she got on base in game 1. 2 hits, 2 walks. Single here. Jennings squares the bunt to advance her over. 5-4 on the sacrifice put out. 1 away, and Davis is in scoring position.
Great job by Jennings. She's doing her job. It doesn't matter if she's safe or out, although she would like to be safe. Her job there was to move Deja Davis to second base, and she was successful in doing so. The reason that this is so key is because now there's only 1 out with a runner on scoring position, and you have a middle of a lineup for Duke that has been hot.
Long Beach, California's Giselle Tapia, the batter. Tapia in the first game today, 1 for 3 with an RBI, run scored. That is down low, and it is 1-0.
One thing that I've loved from Tapia today is her ability to swing at the strikes and anything close, but also letting the balls go. She is earning her at-bats, and she's making pitchers work.
Roby gets the outer portion for strike 1. Anything different you're noting from Taylor Roby in the circle in game 2?
Not yet. I mean, I like the fact that Coach April put her back in. She's a veteran arm. She knows how to shake off not her greatest performance, and she has a lot of trust in her veteran. So she's putting Roby back in the circle, and again, they do have a deep pitching staff, so they're able to go to someone else if need be, but I like to see that Roby's back in the circle with a second shot at this.
So Taylor Roby working here. Two-way player for the Cardinals. That ball is driven to the gap, and a diving effort made by Miller out there in right field.
Right field must have some sort of special sauce on it today. The 3rd diving catch we've seen in right field. A really great play by Miller.
Let's watch the break Miller gets here. Vanessa Miller fighting the sun, laying out, 2 down. Here's Kelly Torres. Appeared as a pinch hitter in the second game, the game we played earlier today. Ball 1 to Torres. Kelly Torres this season, .318. Has uncorked 3 homers, 11 runs driven in. Torres suffered a concussion against Notre Dame. Did not play in last night's game and is in the lineup here for this game 3. They thought it would be today, maybe tomorrow, that she would be back and ready to go. And now it's 2-1 with Torres getting that pinch hit opportunity. Obviously, it's the Saturday date that she has hit as far as a target to return. Torres screeches that one foul on the line drive, and it's now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Torres and her teammates, this game moved up because of rain entering the area tomorrow. So the need for the doubleheader here this afternoon.
And a doubleheader is a different type of softball game day. It is long, it is grueling, it's both mentally and physically exhausting. I mean, you're just on your feet for so many hours of the day, but softball is one of those games where you cannot lock in every second of the game, and you have to be really focused on when to do so.
Little chopper down, bobbled by the 3rd baseman. Torres is going to be safe. And we'll see how they score that here. So Torres is aboard. Runners on 1st and 2nd. Torres hustling all the way. Anna Gold now will be the batter. Gold, relatively quiet game 2 of the series, and she'll harmlessly tap out to the circle to end the inning. No score after 1 in Durham between Louisville and homestanding Duke. Fans enjoying this late afternoon softball. A lot of excitement around Duke because the storied ACC tournament taking place, and it's rightful home, in my humble opinion, in Greensboro, the Coliseum there, and Duke and Virginia tonight. A little rematch of a game that didn't go the Blue Devils' way up in Charlottesville on a controversial call. So a lot of people are excited about that one tonight around here.
That was a really tough call and a tough way to end the game, but the Blue Devils men's basketball team will be competing for the ACC tournament championship tonight.
Right in the circle, working her second inning, Daisy Hess will be the batter.
Duke and Louisville, both historically strong basketball programs.
Yeah, tough year for the Cardinals this season.
Yeah, they've struggled in the past few years.
Hess fouled that one off, 1-1. Daisy Hess, the Georgian. Leadership role, has been a little more vocal this year. And has another year where she could come back because of the COVID situation.
Hess with a triple last game. Speedy, looking to compete in game 2.
That triple that she hit was maybe a home run. Jennings went up in center field or in right center and got a glove on it. And that probably kept it from going out. But Hess, not taking anything to chance, diving into third with a triple. And at the time, Louisville was trying to stage a comeback. They just kept hanging around, kind of like they have this whole series.
Yeah, there has not been a dominant performance, I would say, by either team. Duke has always led, I believe, in both games, but Louisville has always responded. They've just never responded to the point to take the lead. A lot of times in softball, if you continue to get yourself in holes, every time it feels a little bit harder to dig yourself out.
Holly April, what a competitor she is for the Cardinals, 5th year as their head coach. And Hess works a walk here to lead off the inning.
Jayla Wright still trying to find her sweet spot on the mound. A much stronger first inning performance today than we saw yesterday. But again, Coach Young just asking Wright to be able to be herself out on the mound and come up with confidence. And I'd love to see Jayla Wright come out today and just play a little bit looser. We've seen that performance from her so many times before. She's beaten some really good softball teams, so she should have that confidence behind her.
Hurst chops this one back to right, looks at second, no play there, and throws it over to first. Hess advances on to second.
Great heads-up play by Jayla Wright in the circle. She turned to because she got the ball quickly, but she didn't throw until she saw a defender there at second base. She did not see anyone, so she still had the composure to turn, change her feet, and make the throw to first. Great job by Jayla Wright.
Alana Ornelas, the third baseman, 0 for 3 in game 2 in our first game of the doubleheader today, and she comes up empty on a pitch here from Wright. Wright, 15 games as a freshman at Michigan State, started 4. Was a first-team All-State performer in high school.
Yeah, Wright being able to come back to North Carolina, where she's from, a lot closer to her family. Sometimes it's really nice to be a little bit closer to family. Your parents or family members are able to come to the games. Gives a little bit more of a homier feel in what can be such a treacherous, long season.
0-2 here. And that's going to miss the zone and makes it a ball and 2 strikes. Her dad played professionally in the Mariners organization, had played collegiately at Rutgers and Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah, if you're Louisville trying to take this third game home, not leaving Durham without a win, the key is going to be to score first. They haven't been able to do that yet in this series. See Coach April there. Only the second coach in Louisville history for the Cardinals, looking to really develop these players. I mean, she came into a program, and when a coach comes in, they don't clear house. So all of these players are having to adjust to Coach April, the way that she coaches, the strategy that she believes in, and that takes time.
So Wright gets the strikeout. Nice pitch here.
Great pitch, just falls off the table there. An excellent two-strike pitch from Wright. Those are the types of pitches you like to see from her, especially with 2 strikes, making it so tough to hit.
That is her 60th strikeout now in 52 2/3 innings. Easton Lotus.
Yeah, averaging about a strikeout an inning, a pretty great stat for Jayla Wright. Coach Young says she has everything there to be such a dominant pitcher. And as we're talking, Frelick coming in from right field to take away that slap.
Saw this strategy employed on several occasions in Game 2. Lotus battled injuries last year. Going to be ball 1 on the outer portion. Lotus had a base hit in 3 trips in Game 1 of the doubleheader today. No score, top of the second. Louisville with a threat out at second base in the form of Hess. And it's going to be 2-1.
You can see Jayla Wright throwing the ball on the outside part of the plate. Don't want Lotus to be able to get a hold of anything that can drive the ball into the right field gap, because if so, you're probably looking, especially with the speed of Lotus, like an inside the park home run.
That one high and away. Duke has James Madison on Wednesday here, and then we'll be at UNC, games that you can see on ACC Network Extra next weekend. You've played in a few of those, right?
Just a few. Played on both sides of that game there.
3-1, chopper, Frelick off her glove, and it's going to be a attempt to go home. The runner thrown out, Hess trying to score to end the inning. So an error on Frelick, but some heads up work in the field by the Blue Devils. Fired from home, or from first down to home to end the inning. Look at that pooch. Bark at the Park coming up here in Durham on Wednesday.
So much fun there in the outfield. You can bring your dog. That first dog shown there is actually my dog.
Oh!
His name is Sir.
Okay. Sir. Is it spelled a certain way? Is Rodriguez the hitter for Duke? Starts off with a ball. Or is it SIR, sir?
Oh, it's just SIR. There's my mom not supporting Duke softball as she's texting.
Well, no, she's got the sweatshirt on.
Yes, yes. She's seen a lot of softball in her day. As a parent, you spend so much time at games. Who knows how many games my parents spent bringing me all around the country and watching for 5 years as I played at Carolina and then at Duke. All the parents out there deserve such a huge shout out. I never realized how expensive bats were until after college, when it's time to pay for them myself, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Jillian Ferraro, the rare distinction, I would think, in ACC history of having played at both Duke and UNC. I don't think there's a lot, just never mind softball, athletes that have played.
Yeah, an angry Carolina fan actually told me I was the only person to do that. I think they were thinking it was more of an insult. I thought it was a kind of a cool stat.
I think it it makes you very unique, is what I would think.
Yeah, I love the color blue. How about that?
There you go. Rodriguez on a full count pitch. Ball 4 is issued, so now Vega. Vega was batting in 5th in our first game of the doubleheader today, drops to 7th here.
Yeah, and Anna Gold was at the 7th spot at one point in time, and when Coach Young was asked about that, I listened to a previous broadcast on air, she said it was because she likes for her to start off the second inning, Anna Gold that being. And I'm thinking she probably put Vega in that position for a very similar reason, because they wanted a strong bat to start off and catalyze the second inning, and it looks like she's able to do that.
Vega squares, pulls back. It's a ball from Roby, who is working here in the second inning in the circle. Kelsey Zampa, the pinch runner for Rodriguez. Zampa, a sophomore from Michigan. Line drive up the middle. Zampa on to second, and the Blue Devils have the first 2 hitters of the bottom of the second aboard. I think your Battle of the Blues dilemma, I mean, you're in history. I think you'd win some bets, during March Madness, fans watching games. I think that'd be, no offense, I may try to cash in on some of this with this answer, if you don't mind. There's the punt laid down by Davidson.
Excellent. I'll get back to that, but excellent punt by Claire Davidson, a pitcher, a hitter, an outfielder. And bunting is not easy. It's its skill within itself. Great job by Claire Davidson being able to do whatever Coach Young asked of her, and that is why Coach Young has her in the lineup even when she is not pitching. Moving runners to second and third base, 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out. If you're Duke, you are really happy right now.
Francesca Frelick now, who had a couple of great catches out in right field to start this game, or in game 2, I should say, and she fouls one off of her foot. That's got a smart, and she's going to try to hustle it off here. Nice job by...
That is one of the most painful feelings I've ever experienced in my life, is fouling a ball that you hit into either your shin or your foot. I've had knee surgeries. I've had shoulder surgeries. On a cold day, hitting a ball into your shin is arguably more painful.
That's low and in for ball 1. I was going to say Gordon, credit to her for going out to the circle, giving Frelick a chance to compose herself.
Yeah, it definitely takes a minute, and it's definitely still stinging. Try to put that in the back of your mind so you can focus on bringing in some runs if you're Frelick.
Oh, the bat out of her hands and went off the screen.
You want to keep a loose grip when swinging.
Right.
But arguably just a little too loose there.
Ooh.
You don't see that too often.
No, you really don't. Oh, what a stab by Hess to pick it out of the air, and it's a double play as they double up Zampa, straying too far off the bag. And that concludes the inning. Check it out. Hess with the fancy glove work. Up with the throw. Twin killing to in the frame. So, gotta eat. It'll be 9-1-2 for Louisville here in the top of the third. Scoreless so far through a couple of innings. Been a little bit of a change in this series. Duke got 2 in the bottom of the second Friday night, and then 3 in their half of the first in game 2 of this series, which was played earlier today.
I felt like this has been a really even series, and what I mean by that is we're seeing a lot of the same themes on both teams, and one that we've seen recently is runners getting themselves out of the inning. Last inning, Hess was tagged out at home trying to score the first run for Louisville today. And then we saw Zampa there get stuck and caught up on a double play from a line drive. We need to see a little bit better base running. I think the throw at home, the tag at home, was not very close. And Zampa needs to do a better job with only one out being on third base. You have to see that ball through the infield before moving forward.
0-2 to Paige Garrity, the Cardinals left fielder. Watches that one sail in low, and it's going to be a ball and 2 strikes now. Roby Otis, who has a lengthy hitting streak, is on deck for Louisville. Sorry about that, Jill.
No worries. We know Duke is a young team, and when we talked to Coach April, she said that although there are some veterans on the team, she does feel like Louisville still is a young bunch and has a lot more to develop, which she said is a good thing. So what we're seeing right now is a lot of mistakes where that's where the 2 days of practice they both will get this week are going to be so key to be able to make those adjustments, because again, good teams are able to adjust week to week, and if not, they're going to have trouble as they start playing some of the more competitive teams in the ACC, such as Clemson and Florida State and Virginia Tech.
So after falling behind, now the count is run full here. Let's see what Wright can do to get out of it. This will be her 36th pitch.
You can see in the screen there, the bottom of the screen, Frelick back in as the 5th fielder.
And it's the 2nd strikeout for Wright today.
Jayla Wright saying, don't worry about that, Frelick. You don't need to be in here. I've got it covered. Great job by Jayla Wright here. Keeping it low in the zone, down movement on the ball. A great 2-strike pitch. This is a little bit of a different game so far than we've seen in the past 2 games prior. Scoreless in the 3rd is something we haven't seen so far. And you have to wonder, this is Jayla Wright's 2nd appearance on the mound this weekend, Taylor Roby's 2nd appearance on the mound this weekend, if maybe the pitchers are starting to get into their groove a little bit more.
Ball bounced into Corby Otis, dangerous hitter for the Cardinals. Has reached in 15 straight games and is currently riding a hit streak of a dozen games. 0 for 1 today here in Game 3. And she'll be aboard. Now 13 in a row hit in for Otis. 1-out single.
Great job by Otis, not doing too much there. Just making sure to get on base and passing the bat to the next person.
Sarah Gordon 0 for 1, rolled out to short in her lone at bat. Gordon had a base hit in the 2nd game of the series, 1 for 3. You know, we talked last game about Coach Young and her accomplishments as a player, but Holly April was a 3rd-team All-America selection herself for UMass back in the early 90s.
Yeah, a World Series All-Tournament team member.
Good pitch for a strike at the knees. Count even now at 1-1. Think about that, though. UMass going to the College World Series.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I've played against Coach April when she was at Pitt. She's a fierce competitor, looks at herself as a blue-collar coach, and really encourages the scrappiness from her teams.
Runner goes, and in with the stolen base is Otis. So Otis swipes a bag, and that'll be her 9th steal of the year in as many tries.
Incredible throw and transfer by Rodriguez, just missing her there. Great job by Otis. She beat out a really strong arm.
Yeah, Rodriguez has had a great deal of success throwing out runners this season. Good pitch and a wave and a miss by Gordon evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Jayla Wright looking to put this runner away.
That one is struck foul. What do you think of the way, Jill, that Louisville's come out here in this game, especially with the base runner on being aggressive?
I think it's really tough to lose the first 2 games in the series, and it's really easy to say, okay, we've lost the series. Let's get this game over with and get back home. But I like that fight that they're showing. They've hit the ball hard every game, and that's no different here. But Jayla Wright doing an excellent, excellent job getting that runner out swinging.
So her second strikeout of the inning, 3rd of the game. Now, are they going to say that it was a pass ball that led to her going to first base? Coach Young out to speak to our home plate umpire here in this game, Jim Cooper.
Coach Young looks to be a little confused as to the call right now. I think the umpire behind the home plate is saying it would be a drop 3rd strike, but they're going to review this call.
So we'll get our look at it here. I don't think it was a drop, do you?
No, that looks like a catch to me.
So right now, Gordon is standing down at first, which is the right thing to do if you're the batter.
Yeah, and that's a tough situation because Rodriguez probably should have thrown the ball down to first, but if she was confident that she caught it, then she probably wouldn't even think to throw it to first. The hard part is there's a speedy runner on second base right now, and so if you do throw that ball to first, you do risk a runner moving up to 3rd. Looks like the Duke players are talking to the umpire, chatting with him. I think they're probably trying to understand the play more. Umpires over there trying to see if the ball hit the dirt or if the ball was trapped or if Rodriguez behind the plate caught the ball cleanly.
So you have all angles that we have as far as the replays. There's the replayability with the official replay on each camera, the center field, the one above us here in the press box, and then the one down, which they are referring to as the 3rd first base. So you'll have every angle covered on this, but really the one we saw before we went to this review is the definitive one to me. I mean, it seems pretty apparent.
Yeah, and again, yesterday they reviewed a call, and I said, I love that they're able to review calls now because...
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
It's so important to get these types of calls right, especially in clutch situations when there are runners in scoring position. But it is really hard for the umpire behind the plate to be able to distinguish a ball like that on whether it hit the dirt or not. It's the right kind of play to review.
All right, let's see what the umpires are looking at. See, I think she got the mid around it in enough time, and it's just tough to tell if it hit the ground. There's no doubt that it was a strikeout. The question is, did Rodriguez drop the 3rd strike, which would have allowed Gordon to take first base?
From that look, it looks clean to me, a really close call. The umpires have to have indisputable evidence to overturn a play. We'll have to see if that's considered indisputable for the umpires today.
Keep in mind there was an appeal from the home plate umpire out to Robert Guest, or it may have been Aaron Golden. Anyway, the field umpire, which I believe was the 3rd base umpire who had rotated over with the runner on second. Still, however you shake it out, it was appealed in the field, so that's the question here.
Yeah, and judging by the amount of time it's taken to review, it looks like this is a really tough call for them. You can see the umpire on the right pointing at the screen.
So it is going to be a drop third strike, it appears. We'll wait for the official sign. And that is going to be the case. So a pass ball. And instead of 2 outs, there's just 1 out and 2 runners on. So this certainly changes the complexion of the at-bat for Hannah File now.
Yeah, and you know what? A great pitch by Jayla Wright. Rodriguez, a freshman behind the plate. A really good learning lesson. For a ball like that, she's going to remember this play in this game, and she's probably going to throw down to first just for security next time this similar play happens.
Yeah. Good point.
As a catcher, you can feel balls that you trap versus catch.
Ball is caught in foul territory. Tagging and taking third is Otis. Vega, a nice job to run over and track that down, but her back was to the field, and that allowed Otis to tag easily.
Great job by Vega tracking that ball down. Once she catches it, she tries to take a look at the runner to third, but she was way too deep in that right field line to be able to get the ball over there.
So one thing that drop third strike has led to is Roby coming up with 2 on. And a very dangerous bat. Right goes right at her here, and it's a wave and a miss for strike 1.
This is definitely not who Duke wants up with runners in scoring position, especially when now they could have been out of this inning. Key for Jayla Wright is keeping this ball down. Roby being able to really attack things up in the zone.
Roby sends it high in the air, and it's going to be dropped in foul territory. Boy, that one tailed away into foul ground from Frelick, who has really been sure-handed today. And that's a little bit of a break for Duke.
You can see Frelick just keeps trying to find that ball, not truly being able to get the location down. And Roby now gets a second opportunity, a second life during this at-bat.
Her break on that, which you really didn't see on that angle, was not that great.
The sun having been pretty tough earlier in the day, it looks like it's a bit shadier out there now.
Tried to waste a pitch to get her to chase, and it winds up being ball 1. By the way, the Duke outfield, despite the wind blowing in, very deep, particularly Frelick.
And it's tough because this is now 2 times this inning that the Blue Devils should have been out of the inning, but were unable to do so. First with the drop third strike, a really tough call there. And then again with that foul ball that could have been caught by Frelick.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down here in the top of the third. Runners on the corners for Louisville. Right. Rocks delivers, and it's going to be a base knock, and the Cardinals go ahead. Ball got stuck under the fence, and it is a 2-run double for Taylor Roby.
The first time this series that Louisville has led against the Blue Devils. Roby helping herself out there on the mound by getting those 2 runs in. Absolutely line shot to left center field. And it looks as if Jennings had a little bit of trouble, the ball just getting slightly trapped under the fence there, but making a good call and knowing that she has no chance of getting that runner at third and throwing the ball straight to second.
So Roby is going to come out, and a runner will replace her. Going to be Mia Forsyth. Forsyth, the junior from Frisco, Texas. She reports on for the Cardinals. Daisy Hess now, a walk last inning. Cards with 2 in, and they have an opportunity to add more here with Hess at the plate.
Both runs for Louisville, unearned runs. If you're Jayla Wright, you have to know, okay, this is not necessarily a reflection upon me. I'm doing my job, and I have to keep doing my job. I know my defense behind me has my back, which is tough when neither run has been earned so far in this game. But what Jayla Wright needs to do with 2 outs for the team is stop the bleeding, get them out of the inning here. Duke's bats have been on fire this weekend. They're only in the 3rd inning. They have plenty of time to score, but they need to be able to stop Louisville from getting any more momentum in this game. If you're Louisville, on the flip side, this is your opportunity. Talking about taking advantage of the opportunities ahead, and it looks like we're seeing that right now with another gap shot, another run scored. It's going to be 3-0 Louisville, and we see a lot of energy coming from the dugout.
So Hess with the base wrap, and that drives in Forsythe from second.
It looks like Louisville really has Jayla Wright's number here. Solid hit after solid hit. It's been hard, obviously, with 2 unearned runs. She should have been out of the inning quite a bit ago. But nonetheless, she still has a job to do, and she has to get the Duke defense off the field so they're able to start working on this 3-run deficit.
It's going to be low and in to Hurst, who harmlessly tapped out to the circle. And Wright in her lone at bat here of game 3 of this series, second game of our doubleheader today. Hurst squaring, got the start as the DH in game 1 of the doubleheader. It's going to be 2-0. If you think about it, dropped 3rd strike on Gordon. That extended the inning. And then a foul ball that was dropped that Frelick got a bad break on. Had she caught it, the inning would have been over. Runner goes, throw down to second, and she slides in safely, and that's a second stolen base for Louisville here in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, it looks like Baker had trouble getting to the base in time, especially with the throw being to the right of the bag. This is when you can see a team start to come apart.
Good change there, and now it's 2-2.
This is where it's key for Jayla Wright to be able to get them out of the inning. You can see her taking a big, deep breath. It's really easy to see things starting to crumble around you. She has to stay tough here, mentally tough, and get her team out of this inning.
Ball bounces in. Hess will take 3rd base.
Nothing Rodriguez can do there. A great job keeping the ball in front of her.
So the wild pitch, and the Cardinals trying to continue to pour it on here in the 3rd inning. Already 3 in for the visitors.
The game seems to be moving really quickly for the Blue Devils. They need to be able to slow things down right here. Depending on what happens here, they might want to call a timeout and just regroup.
That one is going to be a foul ball. Wow, that was close and would have easily plated a 4th run. Now they're going to review this, I believe, or at least get some kind of explanation.
Louisville thinking that maybe that was a fair ball, that Giselle Tapia might have hit it, but Coach April not challenging the play. You can see a replay here, clearly foul. Tapia did not get a glove on it. Great effort by Tapia, but that's a hard hit ball. And again, Louisville has been putting the bat on the ball today, making really solid contact. Something that should be a little bit of a warning sign for Duke.
Did she go? No, she didn't. The throw to first to make sure that the play is complete this time. So another strikeout, 2-3 on the putout, but the Cardinals explode for 3 in the top of the third, and they have a 3-zip it. Taylor Roby pitching from ahead. Here's we start the bottom of the third for Duke. See what she's done. Led the team in both home runs and wins. And coming into this year, 6 home runs. That leads the Cardinals. She's got the second most wins on the team with 5. So she'll deal with the top of the Blue Devil order here. Deja Davis, Jennings, and Tapia. Due up. That's going to be ball 1. Let's see how she comes out here and what the Blue Devils are going to do. They need base runners down 3 here as we reach the bottom of the third.
Davis doing a really great job so far this series of finding a way to get on base, whether it's through a hit or a walk. She's been a phenomenal leadoff and looking to continue to do so as Duke tries to get back from this 3-run deficit. If you're Louisville, you're trying to get your first win of the ACC and you're trying not to be swept in a series. But if you're Duke, there's a little bit more on the line. You want to stay at the top of the ACC, especially when the ACC tournament comes around. It's important for where you get placed in the tournament, but also for your national ranking. Right now, they're nationally ranked 15th in the country. Losing to an unranked team definitely affects that. So there's different things on the line for both teams here.
That one hit in the air, and then it's another base hit for Davis. Her second of the game. She has been on base in these 2 games here in the doubleheader. All 6.
Davis did a phenomenal job driving that ball to the opposite side of the field, left center gap, roping in a double, an excellent way to lead off the inning for the Blue Devils as they try to dig out of this 3-0 hole.
Team leading 9th double of the season. Now Jennings, who sacrificed her over in the first, but Duke couldn't capitalize. Little tap back, Roby bobbles, all bags safe.
Excellent job by Jennings, doing exactly what she does best. Just dinking the ball, using her speed. Roby knew that she did not have much time, and a lot of time that additional applied pressure can create that bobble like you see because Roby's moving so quickly. And now they have speed on the corners with no outs. If you're Duke, this is where you want to be right now.
Second error of the season on Roby. Runner takes off, Jennings swipes second.
It's always tough when an error is awarded on a play like that because that's what Jennings does. She creates chaos in the infield. She applies pressure with her speed.
Tapia, a little inside-out swing. It's tailing towards the line, caught in foul ground. Runner tags and will score. Jennings takes third, and Duke cuts into this Louisville lead, 3-1 now.
Excellent sac RBI for Tapia. Incredible job. It's her second time today with a similar hit. Doing what she's supposed to do to get out of this 3-0 deficit, making the lead only by 2 for Louisville.
So those Blue Devil bats have come out here and they're swinging them with Torres, the batter, after Louisville hung the 3 spot in the top half of the inning. Torres, a single her first time up. Good hitters count to work with here, up 2-0.
Torres just coming back from a concussion.
Hits this one in the air, tailing down the line. It's going to drop out of here, but it is foul. Oh, wow, that hugged the line, and at the last second tailed foul.
Torres really thought she had that for a second on her way to second base. What a way that would have been for Torres to come back from an injury. Making really great contact, hitting that ball strong opposite side of the field. I love to see the way that Torres is hacking.
Yeah, fought that one off.
Coming in, being aggressive. Now with a 2-2 count, working to score Jennings from third.
Fort Lauderdale Jr. standing in. Here's the 2-2 from Roby. Got underneath, sends it back foul. We'll do it again.
Fouling the ball straight back tends to mean that you're on time. She just missed it, got a little bit under. If you're Torres, you're probably feeling pretty good, has made some solid contact this at-bat.
Line drive, base knock. Blue Devils score their second run. Torres on her way to second with the RBI double.
This is the exact response Coach Young was hoping for. She told us earlier in the week that the team has not failed to shock her in their ability to be resilient and to fight and to be scrappy. They got down for the first time this series last inning, at the top of this inning, and they're no longer, you see Kelly Torres just having some fun there at second base. Big smile from Torres as she has helped the team take that hole that was 3-0 and make it much smaller now at 3-2.
Louisville had Zabala down there warming in their bullpen. Gold. It's this one on the ground to third, and they're going to get Torres trying to take third out.
We've talked about it so many times throughout this series. The base running has to get better for both teams. You see Torres there just making a silly mistake. She got way too close. She should have waited until the ball was in the air before advancing third. She no doubtably would have been safe, but running herself into an out there. An out that's the tying run for this game. And now instead of having 2 outs and a runner on third, you have 2 outs and a runner on first.
0-1 to Rodriguez, out off the plate. Laid off, and it's 1-1. Roby surrendering a couple of runs here after her team had given her a 3-zip lead. That floats in. 1-1. Wind howling in out of the north at 12 miles an hour. They say 52 degrees right now. Seems like it might be a little colder than that.
Yeah, we started to lose the sun here in this game, which is just making things a little bit chillier. As it gets colder, it's definitely a little bit harder to grip the ball. Hands don't feel as good with the ball coming off the bat.
3-1 here, and she walked her. Do you remember the coldest it was when you played a game at any point?
Probably at Pitt, actually, against Coach April. I almost never got 3 games in at Pitt because it was either too cold. The ACC used to have a rule where if the feels like was under 32, we didn't play. And we had multiple games at Pitt canceled, and we bussed to Pitt from North Carolina. So although you didn't want to play in the freezing cold, it was kind of like, you know what? We drove all the way here, we might as well, but those were pretty, when I played at North Carolina, we would bus from Chapel Hill to Pitt, a long, long drive to not get those games in.
Amina Vega, 1-0, takes the strike, evens the count. Gold on at second. Rodriguez, the runner at first for Duke. Hit on the ground, it'll squirt through, running for the tying run and sliding it safely is Gold. Throw down to third, runner safe. Vega takes second on the throw.
We talked about Anna Gold early in this series. But Vega is now the name that we can't stop talking about. Clutch doesn't even really describe it fully. I mean, she has been unstoppable, and she has come up big in every single situation she's been in.
2 for 2 today, and in the 2 games in this doubleheader, has driven in 5 runs.
Vega is not playing like a freshman. She's playing like a seasoned vet, and just like that, a tie ball game. It's got to be tough for Louisville. See Coach heading out into the circle to talk to Roby. It's got to be pretty defeating for Louisville to have had this lead for the first time in the series so far, and for Duke to come back so quickly definitely can be a struggle. Talking to Roby, the seasoned vet out there. She knows what she has to do. But if you're Duke, you want to keep taking advantage of this moment. Claire Davidson now up to bat. 2 runners in scoring position. If you're Duke, you're like, all right, let's take a hold of this game.
Let's see what Davidson could do. A sac bunt in the second. Roby has seen Duke answer the 3 that Louisville put on by answering with 3 here in this home half of the third.
Davidson, timing-wise, on that ball, just got into the hands just a little bit. We saw a sac bunt from Davidson earlier today, but she has home run power too.
Yeah, Claire Davidson has hit 3 of them this season. Fouls that one off. It is in an 0-2 hole.
Davidson doing a good job of being selective with 0-2, knowing Roby's probably coming in there with some sort of pitch, some sort of waste pitch, if you will. Nothing close to the strike zone.
1-2, hit in the air. And coming in, Garita calls off Hess to end the inning, but Duke answers with 3 of their own in the bottom of the third. We're knotted up as we go to the 4th on ACC Network Extra. New pitcher for the Blue Devils, Cassidy Curd, is on. First chance to see Curd this weekend.
Another freshman we're seeing here today being put into the spotlight. She's a competitor. She already has 6 wins under her belt, 33 innings, 48 strikeouts. She throws the ball hard with a rise and a curve to both sides.
She can bring it to Cassidy Curd from Treasure Coast High School.
And if you're wondering what that means, a curveball to both sides, it's not something you're going to necessarily see as much. You're going to have a backdoor curve and a true curve. So on a right-handed batter, a curve is going to be inside, cutting across the plate, and a backdoor curve is going to start looking like a ball and come back in to paint the outside corner. If executed properly, a backdoor curve from a lefty to a right-handed batter can be extremely difficult to hit because you have to wait for that perfect time for the ball to come back in as a strike in order to make contact.
Ball 1 to Ornelas. And now the lefty will rocket fire, and another pitch high and got away from the Duke catcher.
Coach Young described Cassidy Curd as a competitor, someone who really wants the ball, but also effectively wild, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that wild aspect today. Trying to still find the strike zone here with a 2-0 count with no outs.
Freshman leader in the ACC in ERA. She brought that one for a strike.
Something you don't see too often is a battery full of freshmen. A freshman pitcher, a freshman catcher, especially on a ranked team such as number 15 Duke. Giving big kudos to both Cassidy Curd and Rodriguez behind the plate.
65 miles an hour on that one. A big cut and a miss, and it's 2-2. We're here at Williams Field at Jack Katz and Duke Softball Stadium. Patrick Johnson, Jill Ferrara with you. Game 2 of a doubleheader between these two today. Rain in the forecast for Sunday. Final game of the series with Duke already having taken the first 2 games. Lazy fly, easy play for Frelick. 1 out. And here comes Easton Lotus. Well, even in a tight game, long day of softball, just the smile on the Duke players' faces. They're just so loose in how they play.
Yeah, they're having a lot of fun. You can tell Cassidy Curd getting her first innings this weekend. And I think that that's something that Duke has the one-up advantage against Louisville. Game 3, Duke has, it seems, seen all of Louisville's pitchers, but Louisville has not seen Cassidy Curd yet this weekend.
Ball 1 to Lotus here, the second baseman. Lotus reached on an error when they brought Frelick in to be a 5th infielder last time up. Struck the ball right up the middle, and it was dropped. That actually led to the runner being thrown out.
You can tell there's just a little bit more speed on the ball for Curd here in the circle.
Curd blowing on that left hand to try to keep it warm, as it has gotten very chilly out there. We're the 80 degrees of 2 weeks ago here, right?
Yeah, that would definitely be nice, but I think that this is pretty on par for a March in North Carolina.
2 balls and a strike now. Pitch was fouled back off the screen, and it's 2-2. Coach Young talked about upspin. What does that mean?
So most of the time that's going to be a rise ball or some sort of screwball that's higher in the zone. It's one thing about Curd is that she is going to be a pretty hard thrower. And when you have an upspin like that, it's really important to make sure that she still has as much spin as she does speed behind that ball, because again, that up pitch can be launched out of the park pretty quickly.
Hugging the line, had her played perfectly there, Davidson. And a couple flyouts here to start the Louisville 4th inning.
It's funny because at this level, a rise ball of some sorts is only effective if it jumps. If not, if it's really just a high fastball, it tends to jump out of the park and not as much jump out of the strike zone.
Paige Garrity. Pulled back there. She struck out.
I really like so far, again, we haven't seen too much from Curd, but I like how much she's moving the ball around the strike zone and not leaving anything quite in the middle.
Right, left this game after 4 strikeouts. That one's going to be slashed foul into the Blue Devil bullpen. Look who's warming up down there. Lily Walker, who got the win in game 1. Davidson is also warming up. So they have made a change in the outfield, as it's actually Cameron Jackson now in the game in left field. She made that catch a moment ago.
A lot going on when there is a pitcher who hits and who is also a great fielder. Hard to find time to warm up when you're doing all of those other things during a game.
Jackson, a senior out of Tampa. And she's taken over in left field. 2 balls, 1 strike here. Bases are empty for the Cardinals, beg your pardon. Here we go. Fouled back, and it's 2-2. Boy, she really is bringing it, isn't she?
She is, and she's such a different look than Jayla Wright, which if you're Coach Young, that's what you love about having such different pitchers. Jayla Wright was working more low in the zone with that drop ball that kind of falls off the table. Right-handed pitcher, speedy but not as speedy as Curd. I mean, Curd is throwing the ball hard in the upper 60s with upspin like we just talked about, and that indoor and outdoor curve.
Goes full here. PSG, Peyton St. George, she had this quality about her. Curd, and I mean, we're seeing her for the first, but I mean, just seems to have a quality about her out there.
Yeah, Coach
Very
Young,
different from St. George, obviously.
Coach Young talked about Curd wanting to learn more pitches because she just wants to get better and better. Coach Young's like, listen, that will come with time, but let's get really great at what you've got right now. We'll work on everything else. You can tell she wants the ball. Peyton St. George was in such a unique position because at one point in time, she was really all that Duke softball had. And when I say that, she had the most innings. Shelby Walters, who was arguably her co-ace, had a lot of injuries that she was battling. And sometimes when you get into that position where it's you or no one, you have this kind of confidence of like, all right, I've got no other choice. There's no one to back me up. Peyton St. George was able to gain a lot of confidence through those types of appearances.
Good at bat by Garrity, draws a walk, and that'll get to the top of the order here for Otis. So tough break for the freshman and for Duke because you flip the order down, you have a runner on, and you're dealing with the top of the inning, or top of the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see this lefty pitcher, righty hitter matchup now with 2 outs. Otis, who has been incredibly consistent game after game for Louisville.
It's going to be ball 1 here for Otis, who extended her hit streak last time up.
And Rodriguez has to be on her toes. Louisville has successfully stolen second twice today. Never know when Coach April's going to try to get another runner in scoring position. You don't see it as much with 2 outs, but again, with the success today, you don't know.
And rise ball high and out of the zone, 2-0 here.
One thing I will mention as a catcher is it's going to be easier to throw down to second with a pitcher with more speed and a pitcher that throws more up in the zone because it's a more natural transfer. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to throw a runner out at second with a pitcher like Jayla Wright, who throws low and it kind of drops off the table because it just takes that little second longer for the catcher to be able to transfer the ball to her throwing arm and get the ball out of her hand.
So Otis, 3-0 here. You turn her loose?
You know, it's interesting. I think Cassidy Curd is probably being really careful, but it's tough to be careful because of the success of Louisville's top of the lineup. We'll see here now Gordon, who's actually 0-2 for the day. But behind Gordon, you have File and Roby, who have both hit the ball today. You kind of can't avoid anyone here.
So the junior Garrity is out at second base, the Auburn transfer. Otis has walked. Gordon 0 for 2 with the strikeout, although she did reach on that drop ball and would eventually score on the 2-run double from Roby. It was a brief discussion, whatever it was, with Coach Young out there.
Yeah, I have no idea what she said, but with Gordon being 0 for 2 today, I'd be saying go at her. Go at her, get us out of this inning.
So Cassidy Curd in relief of Wright. It's a staff game now for the Devils. See what Curd can do for him here to get out of the inning after walking back-to-back hitters. And that's another out of the zone.
We talked about being effectively wild, but it's only effective if they swing. So she's going to have to plate some more balls. Being able to kind of get those corners that we've talked so much about in this series. It feels like there hasn't been a pitcher yet who has effectively hit the corners consistently. And that's why we've seen so many hard hits this series. regardless of the outcome today, both pitching coaches are going to take the pitchers this week and really work on executing their spots a little bit more this week. And again, it's really early in the season. There's tons of time to make these small adjustments. These are not huge fixes most of the time, just small adjustments.
That one was fouled. Looked like it may have caught a piece of somebody.
Umpires coming together now to discuss that last pitch.
Well, I think maybe Cooper was shaken up a little bit. Yeah, it caught Cooper's face mask there.
Okay, I didn't see that the first time. Yep, it's going to take a second there. As a former catcher, I know. Just shakes you up a little bit. Need to just walk around. Glad to see he's okay.
Members of the crew came to check on him. He's okay. The Duke trainer was out. One, two, high and away. Now it's even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
This is where Curd really needs to buckle down, get herself out of this inning before File comes up. We saw yesterday a blast out of the park from Hannah File, a situation Cassidy Curd does not want to put herself in a tie ball game situation.
And then you have Roby behind File, keep in mind. We've already seen what damage she can do in an inning that's extended, and gets the strikeout to end it. Curd blows that one through Gordon, and the Cardinals leave a pair of runners stranded in the 4th. Another look at Alyssa Zabala, the freshman. We've seen her twice already this series.
Coach April has a lot of confidence in Alyssa Zabala. Like you said, giving her her 3rd opportunity in this series. As a freshman, you're going to see a lot of Zabala over the next 4 years if you're a Louisville fan.
Out of Miami, Zabala on Friday night, 3 innings, 4 hits, a run, and a walk. And then in game 1 of the doubleheader today, Zabala came in. In relief of Roby for the 3 innings. On Friday, she actually worked 2, 6, and started the game and got touched up for 4 runs.
Now pitching for Louisville, number 13, Alyssa.
So let's see how effective Zabala will be. Francesca Frelick talking to our home plate umpire. She will
now batting for Duke, number 13,
stand in for the Blue Devils here in the bottom of the 4th.
Frelick has had some really great plays in the outfield this weekend. She's caught behind the plate and had some really quality at-bats. Someone like Frelick, who's been in and out of the lineup in the past few years, it's exciting to see a player like this kind of come into her own and really earn that consistent starting spot.
0 for 1 in game 2, 1 of 3 earlier in the first game of the doubleheader. That's called a strike.
Frelick with a shot at her first at-bat, a line out to shortstop. Seems like she's seeing the ball pretty well this weekend. And Frelick's job as the 9 hitter is to be that leadoff.
2-1 line drive. It's going to be foul.
Very similar hit to her line out at shortstop, left side of the field, really hard hit. Love the way she's seeing and attacking the ball this weekend. You can see she's smiling out there. She's having fun.
Two.
Great hold. You could see just for a second there, she wanted to go for it. Love that chase pitch by Zabala, just a little bit outside of the zone.
Fouled it back. Took a big whack at it there. Count remains full.
Great job by Frelick there, using a little bit of a timing swing. You see a lot of players on the Duke team using that, especially with 2 strikes, keeping their hands loose, timing up the ball a little bit better.
Puts a charge in this one. It is drifting back. It's gone! Solo home run for Frelick.
Frelick is having herself a weekend. ESPN plays in the outfield, and now a homer to take the lead for Duke against the Louisville Cardinals. 4-3 game in the bottom of 4.
Francesca Frelick touches them all as she uncorks a homer from the number 9 spot. Second dinger of the season.
She battled off the last pitch. It looked like she was on timing-wise, and she was able to connect with that ball. You could tell pretty quickly she knew the ball was out of there. Great job by Frelick.
And Jillian, she hit it into the teeth of the wind.
Yeah, a lot of balls have been sitting in the field today that probably would have gone out if it wasn't a windy day. Frelick, it didn't matter for her. She was able to cut right through it.
Strike 1 to Deja Davis, who has reached 6 straight times. 4 hits, 2 walks in the doubleheader. And she's quickly finding herself in an 0-2 hole.
Davis, another player that's clutch. 2 for 2 on the day so far. Batting .436.
Remarkable average, isn't it? Wow.
She plays like a 5th-year senior. She's been there. She's done it. She's composed. I've said it so many times this series, but her ability to select good pitches to swing at has been fantastic. Another great pitch to hit at.
Garrity with the catch. That's the first time they've gotten her out in this doubleheader.
And it's going to happen. It's a game of odds, right? No one bats 1,000. But still a really quality hit by Deja Davis.
Deanna Jennings, a sac bunt, reached on an error, swiped a bag, and scored in the 3rd. Duke answered with 3 runs last inning after Louisville put 3 on the scoreboard here. 1-0 to Jennings here. Duke has taken the lead on a solo shot from Frelick.
Well, and with Frelick hitting that solo shot and then Davis lining out.
This one drifting back is Garrity making a tough catch on the run.
A little different than we've seen from Jennings so far in this series. She's been keeping everything really short and in the infield, but showing the Louisville Cardinals, hey, hold on, I have power too. Like to see that switch up, even though it ended up lining out.
So now Giselle Tapia. And a record set by Garrity that has been set many times before. She records all 3 outs to retire the Blue Devils after they get 1 on the board, though. A Frelick dinger makes it 4-3. So Cassidy Curd will come into her 2nd inning in the circle out of the pen, if you will. And here she is with the lead now.
It'll be interesting to see how Cassidy Curd adjusts now having the lead. A little less pressure on her to keep a tie ball game, although we know 1 run in this game really means nothing. Curd doing a really great job of getting a strikeout to end last inning. We'll see if she's able to kind of keep on that same path here.
Oh, hit File, who will make her way down to first base.
A little bit of a wild pitch there coming from a lefty. Coming up and in, probably trying to throw some sort of curve there that just got away from her. With as hard as Cassidy Curd throws, you know that that has got to be a little painful there on first base for File.
Curd has hit her 6th batter of the season. Now Roby, who assumes the DH role after starting in the circle here this third game of the series. 1-0 to her.
You never want to hit a batter, but it's especially hard to get someone on first base when you have someone like Roby up to bat now with no outs.
.65 on the in-stadium radar, high and in. This is kind of power on power here, isn't it, Jill?
Yeah, it is. Power up to bat, power in the circle, absolutely. Curd's seen it for herself this weekend. She doesn't even have to look to the scouting report. She knows how big of a bat Roby is.
Nice job to paint the corner. Roby hit a home run in the first game of the doubleheader today. Already has a 2-run double here in game 2.
And leads Louisville in all-time home runs as well. You can tell that Curd is being careful with Roby, and rightfully so. But it's definitely tough to have 2 runners on with no outs in the heart of the Louisville lineup.
Well, one thing I've noticed about Roby here, and you don't maybe necessarily see this with hitters that are so prolific in hitting home runs, she's very patient up there.
She is.
And she engineers a walk here. And there are 2 on all of a sudden, and Hess comes to the plate. Hess an RBI single back in the third.
And I think that part of that being selective is she is a senior. She's very comfortable, obviously, in the box. She brings a lot to that team. And a lot of times when you're not selective, it's because you're pressing. And you're pressing because you're either trying to get a hit, get out of a slump, or because you're being over aggressive because you're trying to prove herself, and she's not doing any of those things right now. That curveball to the inside part of the plate for a right-handed hitter is just so tough. As someone who preferred to hit outside pitches as a batter, that pitch is just gnarly coming in from the left side. It feels like it creeps up on your hands really, really quickly. Coming back to the same spot, exactly identical to her last pitch. Getting ahead now, 0-2, exactly the way she needed to come back after walking Roby. This is now where Curd gets to have some fun. 0-2 count. She can't put anything close to the strike zone. And this is where, as Coach Young says, she gets to be a little bit of effectively wild.
The delivery here, and it's knocked in the air. It'll drop foul.
That is way, way too close to the plate for an 0-2 pitch. Hopefully that was a miss by Curd. Definitely was a miss by Curd. 0-2, that is not the pitch you want to throw. She just nodded to the coaches. That's probably an understanding.
Pickle Winkler on deck for the Cardinals. High and away.
Not close, and that's exactly where it should be with a 1-2 count. Obviously, you have to toe that line of it not being close enough to hit, but also looking good enough for the batter to swing. But with a count like an 0-2 count, you just can't get it anywhere close, especially not with a hard-hitting Louisville team.
Curd in this one. Off the end of the bat, they're going to get the runner at second base. So Roby is retired, 4-6. File on to third. Hess aboard at first.
A little surprised, but I like that play by Amina Vega. One less runner in scoring position. It'll be interesting to see what play Coach April calls. If I had to guess, there's going to be some sort of steal on this pitch to get that runner over into scoring position.
Pickle Winkler in as a pinch hitter now. Madison Pinkle Winkler, the freshman from Kaufton, Kentucky. Runner goes, and they let her take the base. So Hess has stolen her way into scoring position.
Yep, 2 runners, scoring position, only 1 out. Time for Curd to really step up. If you're Louisville, you're looking for some sort of high fly ball into the outfield for an RBI or, of course, a base hit.
Going to be ball 1 to Winkler. Here's another name that you're going to, I think, hear a lot of over the next several years for the Cardinals with Winkler.
Yeah, she's come into multiple games already this series. Someone that Coach April spoke highly of when we spoke to her earlier this week. A lot of really young, exciting talent for both teams.
Coach Young out of the dugout. And Duke is going to make a substitution here. Mid at bat, Sarah Goddard will head out into the outfield and replace Frelick.
Looks like Frelick could potentially be catching right now. I don't think they're subbing Frelick out of this game. Yep, it looks like Rodriguez is running off the field. This could be done for a number of reasons. I think having a freshman on freshman battery can be tough. Frelick might be catching Curd more in practice. A lot of times there's more similar matchups, so Curd might feel more comfortable pitching to Frelick, especially since she's a little bit more tenured than Rodriguez. And of course, you don't want to take Frelick out of the game because her bat's been on fire.
So Goddard replaces Rodriguez. Frelick will be the catcher. And Goddard, who comes into the game off the bench, will take over in right field.
Goddard has great accuracy as far as it comes to her throw, and with runners on second and third with the potential throw home, Goddard is someone they'll want to have in the outfield. Not exactly sure why Coach Young made this move again, but definitely in some aspects it makes sense. I think we complimented the pinstripes earlier. The black on black uniforms for Duke look pretty flashy as well.
So here we go, top 5. Louisville with 2 in scoring position. The lead runner out at second base in the form of Hess. New catcher into the game, mid at bat.
Louisville in a really great position. Right now, it doesn't exactly feel like Louisville's losing this game. It kind of feels like they're winning because there's so much pressure on Cassidy Curd right now. Only 1 out, runners on second and third.
File down at third. She was hit by a pitch to start the inning. It's going to be low, and it's going to be 2-2 now.
That is a great miss, especially on a 1-2 count. Just a little low. Looked good enough to potentially chase as a batter, but not high enough in the strike zone where she could really get her bat on the ball.
Struck her out. Second punch out of the game for Curd, and that's a big second out for Duke.
Curd earning some clutch points here with a strikeout swinging. This is so important right now because of the runners on second and third. There are so many ways that Louisville could have scored in that last at-bat. A fly out now gets them out of the inning with 2 outs. So now it puts even more pressure to score this run and tie the ball game back up. Great job by Curd.
Ornelas is 0 for 2.
And if you're Curd, you're using this as confidence. Feels really good to be in a really tight situation and come through with a strikeout, swinging exactly what your team needed. She needs to use that to kind of put a chip on her shoulder and get her and the Blue Devils out of the inning.
Now it's 2-0. Ornelas with 6 runs driven in this season, just below 300 on the year. Blue Devil pitching have struck out 6 Cardinals in this game so far.
Curd wanting to come back with a strike right now. Getting behind 3-0 in a count is really tough, especially when this would mean bases loaded if she walked her. She really needs to come back with a strike right now.
Easton Lotus is on deck for the Cardinals.
And if you're Ornelas, you're selective, but you know that Cassidy Curd is coming and trying to throw a strike right now. She's looking for a certain pitch and probably going to take a big hack if that pitch is thrown.
Let's see what she does. It's going to be ball 4.
That's a tight pitch right there. Just barely missing. Can't tell if maybe that was a little low or outside, potentially both, but not a bad pitch by Cassidy Curd.
So now Easton Lotus with the bases full of Cardinals. Louisville a 3-run 3rd inning.
Lotus 0 for 2 today. Taking time out here. Curd definitely takes her time a little bit more on the mound than Jayla Wright had earlier in the game.
That's low, and now 5 in a row out of the strike zone.
Curd has nowhere to put her. She has to throw here to Lotus. If you're Lotus right now, you know that Cassidy Curd is struggling and you're gonna make her throw a strike before going after something.
It took a whack at it there, and it's out of play, foul.
A lot of times when a pitcher is struggling, the coach will put a hold on the batter, making her throw a strike. Clearly, Coach April has not done so. But this is another situation, bases loaded. Louisville has been in this situation so many times already this weekend. We'll see if Lotus can execute here with bases loaded.
1-1 up the middle, and that will give the Cardinals the lead.
Jennings with a fantastic dive, potentially stopping another run.
And it does it. The bases are cleared. A 3-run double for Easton Lotus.
Louisville answered. Duke came back to take the ball game. Louisville said not so fast, now leading 6-4. There's been so much fight by Louisville this weekend, but this is the first time they've been able to take the lead twice.
So 3 in here, and it's 6-4.
This is why it's so key for pitchers to get ahead and to get ahead early. Cassidy Curd started off the inning by hitting a batter, and she was never really able to recover from that point moving forward. She's been having trouble finding the strike zone, trouble finding consistency. We're seeing little glimpses of light in her strikeouts. You know the capability's there, but she's having trouble executing right now.
So here's Paige Garrity ahead in the count 1-0. Slashes that one foul off the left side. Garrity, the Auburn transfer. Davidson starting to get loose.
Davidson, no stranger on the mound for the Duke softball team. I would not be surprised if we see her next inning and potentially even this inning.
Bunt fielded by Gold on a hop. It's picked out of the dirt. What a nice play at first base. Rotating over Vega. What a grab that was, but I think we're going to have a challenge potentially. Boy, what a scoop by Vega, though.
Yeah, you can see the frustration a little bit on Anna Gold's face. She definitely didn't mean to end up having to throw from her knees. It seems like she got a little bit caught off guard. A great time now for a challenge by Coach April. It would be scoring another run. Or I'm sorry, it wouldn't. It'd be moving the runner to third. Coach April believing she beat out that ball, and also a really great scoop over at first base by Giselle Tapia. We're seeing this play now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's bang, bang, but wow, what a pick there. What do you think, Jill?
I cannot tell. I'm trying to see this one more time. It looks like it might be a very true tie, which I guess then it wouldn't be indisputable evidence to overturn the call. From this angle, we'll see if she does have possession as the runner hits first base. She never lost possession. I gave credit to Giselle Tapia, but that looks like Amina Vega over there.
Which makes the play even
tougher.
Better.
And what you'll see is her glove hand is also the foot that is on the base. The foot that's on the base is the same as her glove hand, which you normally want to stretch with that foot. So as you can tell, she had trouble getting there in time, and we're seeing from the umpire.
Yep, confirms the call. Boy, what a great play. Gold from her knees with the throw, and then Vega covering the bag at first with the pick out of the dirt. A bounce and an out. Louisville ahead by 2. A lot of twists and turns in this one between Louisville and number 15 Duke today.
Louisville has answered. They lost the first 2 games in the series, but they've come back for this third game with energy and fight. It's exactly what Coach April wants to see from her team, that scrappiness. We see multiple pitchers in Duke side warming up the bullpen, because Louisville is coming in hot and they're hitting the ball hard. They're making things happen. Zabala now coming in with the lead.
After giving it up, and Zabala will fire a strike here to Goddard.
Goddard's first at-bat of the day. No stranger to the Duke lineup, though.
She's batting for Torres, which means they probably have moved Rodriguez then to the pinch hitter's role, or designated hitter's role, beg your pardon. 0-2 here for Goddard, 279 on the season. And she goes down on 3 pitches.
Great job by Zabala. Coach April and staff call her Zaballer because of the way that she comes to the mound. Playing with a lot of swag. You can tell she has so much confidence, especially for a freshman. She attacked Goddard early and stayed there.
On a Gold, came in as hot as anybody in the ACC.
Yeah, Gold struggling a little bit more today. I don't think it's necessarily uncommon, especially when you're really hot. At some point, you can get either a little overconfident or start to apply a little too much pressure on yourself. Just needs to be able to sit back, do what she does best. She has had some shots into the outfield that have been caught.
That one smashed, but foul.
Yeah, talk about a hard hit ball. We know she has so much power.
You know, she has also taken some slings and arrows for her defense so far this year, but that really was a very tough play just to get the ball off and get it down to first, even though it did bounce in there.
Yeah, it was. And having played for Coach Young, one of her sayings that she always says is be where your feet are. And when you are struggling in one aspect of the game, you still have to be Coach Young out there having to dodge quite a few balls there. You can see she's running away. She's going to stay behind the fence for Anna Gold. Someone who has so much power. Coach Young said, no thanks, I'm not here to play dodgeball. She'll be behind the dugout until Anna Gold either gets out or reaches first base here.
Drives that one in the gap. It is going to be out of here.
And just like that, Anna Gold, her 7th home run just in the past few games.
8th of the season for Gold and her 7th in 8 games now. Gracious, she's continues to swing a torrid bat.
Just as I said, she was struggling a little bit, maybe putting too much pressure on herself. She comes right back with what she does best, which is the long ball. Hitting 2 really hard pitches foul. Earlier in her at-bat, she was able to course correct and drive the ball straight up the middle, helping Duke shorten that lead from 2 to 1. Has to give Duke softball some energy.
Second home run that has been given up by Zambala. It's going to be outside, 1-1. Rodriguez stayed in. She moves to the DH role.
Yeah, we saw Rodriguez yesterday on a back-to-back home run shot after Anna Gold. Someone who has rose to the occasion of batting behind someone like Gold. That's not an easy place to be in. What you often find, especially if Anna Gold stays this hot, will be they will start to intentionally walk her or pitch around her to get to Rodriguez. So it's important for Rodriguez to be able to say, no, you can't do that because I'll come in just as hot.
Levels the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes there as that floats in. A look at Gold.
Anna Gold there talking to Coach Sydney Romero, a third baseman as well at Oklahoma. And now in Athletes Unlimited, the pro softball organization that plays every summer. You'll see Coach Romero there after the season for Duke. It's probably really comforting to have for Anna Gold to have someone like Coach Romero there to be able to talk about what she's doing, what she can adjust real time.
You know, it's funny. They like Romero to go out there and show him things. Anna Gold in particular in the field. I mean, they're trying to absorb all of her knowledge like a sponge. 3-2, hit up the middle, and Rodriguez is aboard for the 3rd time.
Said it earlier in her at-bat, it's so important for her to be able to show up after Anna Gold, and she's doing so as just a freshman. It doesn't need to be a home run, but those back-to-back hits really put that pressure on the defense in the Louisville Cardinals.
48 degrees last we checked. It feels like 44. So we're not quite in cancel the game pit territory, old school rules, but it is chilly out there.
Yeah, it's definitely chilly, but if you've been running around Vega with an absolute bomb.
It's going to be a long fly out for the 2nd out of the inning as Rodriguez retreats back to the bag at first.
Dear Zambala, you're really happy to get that out. Vega has been such an impactful player this entire series. A really solid shot, just missed a little bit under it. Somewhat of an easy pop fly there for Otis.
Cameron Jackson for the Blue Devils.
Love the aggressive cut by Jackson. First at-bat of this game for Jackson, but not new to the Louisville series.
0-1, Jackson takes it for a strike.
Great job by Zabala. coming in, getting back-to-back strikes there, going straight at Jackson, trying to get out of this inning without Duke tying it up. 2 outs, runner on first base for Duke. Jackson just trying to pass the bat along to Frelick, who's on deck for the Blue Devils. Jackson just a little bit late on the past 2 balls here. Making relatively solid contact, just needing to get her timing down a little bit more.
Oh, that hit her. And now Frelick will come to the dish.
Hey, any way to pass the bat, right? Probably not ideal for Cameron Jackson's arm, but she'll take it.
This was Frelick in the 4th inning, and at the time gave Duke the lead.
Absolutely crushed the ball. Frelick has been outstanding this entire season, and especially in this series. Multiple diving plays, now the home run, some clutch hits.
And has taken over behind the plate as a catcher.
Yeah, she's been so versatile in this series for Duke. And now we're seeing a new pitcher in the circle for Louisville.
We'll tell you about the new player for the Cardinals to come in and try to shut down the Devils here right after this. Here is Sam Boo on for the 2nd time in the series. 7th appearance, 1-0 on the year, 114 earned run average for Boo. 12 1/3 innings, 15 strikeouts. She worked an inning on Friday in game 1 and allowed a hit as she finished the game for the Cardinals in that 9-6 Duke win.
A lot of spin, a lot of movement for Sam Boo. She hasn't seen too many innings. Definitely a very different look than Zambala. Definitely going to be an adjustment for this Blue Devil hitting squad here.
Frelick, who homered her last time up, 2-0 ahead in the count here. And now 3-0.
Especially when you have a new player, a new pitcher on the mound. It's important to make sure that she's able to earn these pitches here. And Frelick is doing just that, making her earn a strike.
Walked her on 4 pitches. So welcome to the game, Sam Boo, as now the bases are loaded, and you flip the lineup now to one of the hottest hitters for Duke today, Davis.
Yeah, this is not who Louisville wants up right now. It's tough because Duke has 9 hits today. It doesn't tell the story because right now they're losing 6-5. Some unearned runs on Louisville's side. But this is Duke's opportunity to be able to take the lead again here tonight and capitalize on some pitching mistakes from the Louisville pitching staff. Davis has been extremely selective all series, waiting for her pitch. Multiple walks, multiple hits. If you're Duke right now, this is exactly who you want up.
1-1 from Boo. Missed outside, 2-1. I think Boo wanted that one to be called a strike, didn't she?
Yeah, Boo has nowhere to put Davis, right? So she has to throw a strike here or she'll be walking in the tying run.
Hit in the air, it is carrying, and it will be off the wall. 1 run in, another runner scores, and a 3rd run scores for Duke, and they take a 2-run lead.
I have used the word clutch far too much in this series, so I apologize to everyone listening. but there have been so many clutch hits. It's kind of unbelievable, honestly. There's obviously been so many scenarios for this to happen, but Davis absolutely hacking here. For a second, it looks like it's gonna go out, but it bounces up against the wall, able to score 3 runs. You couldn't ask for more from Davis this series.
This is hit on the ground, and it will be an easy out for Jennings as she is retired. But Duke gets on the board with 3, and they take the lead. Duke has scored in 3 straight innings at a 4 spot in the bottom of the 5th inning here to take an 8-6 lead. And this has just been a crazy game that's saw the pendulum swing in both directions multiple times.
If you are a non-biased participant in this game, this is a lot of fun to watch. But if not, it's an absolute roller coaster. Both teams leading at different points of this game. We've seen this all series, but the difference in this game compared to the first 2 games is Louisville has never been able to answer to the point where they take the lead, but they've done that twice today. They started out with the lead, they recaptured the lead, and Duke has come from behind now twice, winning this ball game 8-6.
This is a Duke team that just does not go away, and top of the order here for Curd, who sat for a long time there in the 5th. See how she bounces back.
Curd still struggling a little bit to find her groove. It seems as if the entire pitching staff has been so far this weekend for Duke. But now with a little bit of a lead here, she should be able to feel a little bit more comfortable. And the key is to get this first batter. She hasn't been able to have that much success in getting the leadoff batter out, and that always leads to trouble down the line.
Otis has reached on a single and a walk, and it's 2-0.
Otis is not an easy leadoff batter for Curd either. Arguably the most consistent player right now on the Louisville team.
Here is the 2-0. And now it's 3-0.
Starting to see here, Curd's just having some trouble finding the strike zone. She's changing up pitches, and it's becoming a little bit difficult for her to get ahead of these hitters.
That's a strike.
Great pitch by Curd, coming back to stay in the at-bat. 3-1 count here. She has to go at Otis here. It's really crucial for her to be able to get that leadoff out, especially with only a lead of 2, which is we know is nothing in this game.
It's going to be a walk. And now for Curd, 5th walk of the game.
Yeah, 5 walks is a lot in a total game, let alone coming in as relief. We know that she's a little bit wild. It's part of an effectively wild strategy she has, but that only works if you set yourself up to be effectively wild. And by getting behind in these at-bats, she's not able to do that.
Sarah Gordon has struck out twice, and she will take this pitch for a strike. 0 for 3 on the day, reached on that dropped ball, the pass ball, when Rodriguez was behind the plate. Hit up the middle, and there are 2 aboard.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a new pitcher for Duke in the next few at-bats. Curd is having trouble finding the zone, and when she does, she seems to be plating it a little bit. Looks like Coach Young is coming out to make a switch, and it looks like Curd is going to be retiring for the night.
So Curd will come out of the circle. File will be the batter for the Cardinals. And for the Blue Devils, Lily Walker, who has gotten victories in each of the first 2 games of the series, comes on in relief.
I was going to say, no stranger Lily Walker is to coming in relief. After the break, we'll see how Lily Walker handles the pressure of bases of runners on first and second.
Lily Walker is 6-0, and Lily Walker so far in this series has combined to work 7 1/3 innings. She's allowed 6 hits over the 2 games. 4 runs, only 1 has been earned. She has 6 strikeouts and 3 walks in this one so far. And this series so far. And she comes in relief, and she'll deal with Hannah File.
Lily Walker is no stranger to this position. This is her 3rd time now coming into the series in relief of some sort. Clearly very capable of handling the pressure of the situation and rising to the occasion. A great pitch, and Frelick there doing an excellent job framing a ball that was dropping out of the zone, making sure the umpire saw that clear.
Wasn't a breeze for Lily Walker in game 1 of the doubleheader, but she did get the victory. And that's another pitch that floats in for a strike.
Yeah, Frelick doing an excellent job behind the plate of framing those pitches. I'm not saying that they're not strikes, but her ball is floating in there a little bit, and it tends to drop a little bit outside of the strike zone as it's going into Frelick's glove.
Lefty misses inside here.
We've talked all day about the importance of being ahead in the count and then throwing a pitch that then reflects that. When you're ahead in a pitcher's count, the last thing you want to do is throw something so close to the strike zone. Walker doing a great job of that so far.
This one is punched over the head of the leaping Vega, and Louisville has brought it to a 1-run game. RBI single for File. And don't look now, but Roby is coming to the plate.
Just as soon as I talked about putting one with too much plate, seemed that that's exactly what Lily Walker did. Threw something that was just definitely not painting the corners, a little bit fat there. File being able to take advantage of that, especially with 2 strikes when when batters are protecting. It's really difficult to throw something that far over the plate. You see Roby's in the front of the box here, ready to attack here. No outs, runners on first and third.
Called a strike to Roby. Good start for Walker. Some of the fans from Louisville not happy with the call.
Yeah, that ball was right at the knees. Umpire has been giving that pretty consistently all day today.
A 1, down and away, and it evens the count.
And remember, because there are no outs in this game, Roby doesn't need to do anything special. A sac fly ball is going to tie this game up.
Hits it high but shallow, not deep enough to score a run, as Davis is back to record the first out.
Excellent job by Lily Walker there. That's exactly what she wants, something that is not deep enough for the runner on third to be able to come and score home. Great job by Walker there.
It's a pretty big out there, and now Hess will stand in. Hess, though, has an RBI single to her credit today. Floats in, runner goes. Walker picked that one out of the air. Perhaps wisely so.
You could see some smiles from Baker and Vega, middle in, and now we see Coach Young coming to just chat with her team pretty quickly. Runners in scoring position with only one out.
We talked about it. Not only are there just a lot of new faces on this roster, new coaching staff. We've discussed all this today with Coach Young. What's really interesting is, you know, she's obviously used to the newness. She built this program from the ground up. You were a part of that in year one. But they just really haven't skipped a beat, it doesn't seem like, in a lot of ways this year. Maybe not winning as convincingly as they did last year, but Duke continues to have a lot of success here, having won 17 of their last 18 now coming into this game this evening.
Yeah, a lot of the mistakes we're seeing are just rookie mistakes, things that can be learned from pretty quickly.
They appeal and say that Hess did not go around. So it's 1-1.
Same situation applies as the last at bat for Roby. A sac fly will do with only one out. Something deep in the outfield where the outfielders would not be able to throw home. We're continuing to see the Duke pitchers not be able to get ahead in the count, and I think that this is really causing problems for them. And the reason that Louisville has been able to hit so many balls hard is because when they're not getting ahead in the count, they're having to plate the ball more, and Louisville's taking advantage of that.
Here is the 2-1 offering here with one down. 2 on in scoring position. Already 1 in for the Cardinals. It's going to be 3-1 now, and Winkler is on deck. So a walk has been issued.
A really tough spot for Lily Walker to be in. Bases loaded, only one out. For the defense, they know play is at home, especially if it's hard hit to them. Looking for a double play. We now have Winkler up 0 for 1 today.
Yeah, she struck out in the 5th.
Really key for Walker right now to come back here with a strike, even up the count. She needs to get ahead. There is nowhere for her to put Winkler.
Both these coaches in this conference series. First we'll get the 1-0 delivery. And that is swung through by Winkler, 1-1. They talked about the challenges of coming out of those multi-team events, and now you're playing the same team 3 games in a row, and you have to make these adjustments.
Yeah, when we talked to Coach Young earlier this week, she said she loves playing teams 3 times, having to make those adjustments inning to inning and game to game. It's the competitive nature in her looking to beat a team 3 times. Great job by Lily Walker coming back with 2 back-to-back strikes.
Ball 2 strikes here.
Especially now for Louisville, they've seen Lily Walker 3 times. They know what she throws. It's just a matter for Lily Walker to execute on her pitches here. Really, really close pitch. Great 2-strike pitch from Lily Walker.
So now 2-2.
Bases loaded as Winkler's looking to score a run and tie up the game for Louisville.
Freshman hits it on the ground, and it'll be dropped at home, and we're tied. And the lead runner scores now for the Cardinals. Gordon in safely as the ball was dropped. File hustling comes around, and Louisville takes a 9-8 advantage.
It's the same story all series. The Blue Devils continue to struggle with simple defensive plays. The problem here is because Frelick had to go and get the ball, there was no one covering home, which allowed 2 runners to score. Heads up play by Louisville. It wasn't pretty, but they've been able to recapture the lead now for the 3rd time this game, winning 9-8.
This continues to go back and forth with 2, now 3 runs scored by Louisville here. This is the 3rd inning where all of their runs have been in 3s. And with just 1 out here, they could add to that.
Until the Duke pitching staff starts to get ahead in this game, I don't think we're going to see too many things change here. It's the same pattern over and over again where they're getting behind in the count, then they're having to come back and throw pitches that they don't necessarily want to throw to get a strike. Louisville's taking advantage of that. It's like they're being very aware of the count and knowing when it's time for Lily Walker to have to throw that pitch, and they're executing over and over again. If you're Coach April right now, you're really happy with how your team is fighting and continuing to come back during this game.
Alana Onellis, and it is going to be strike 1 to her at the knees. Holly April just wanted her team to do the things consistently to be in a position to win. Not worry about the result, just handle your business, and the winning will take care of itself. That floats in, but low, and now it's 3-1.
I like that pitch from Lily Walker, barely missing there. That's a great pitch. The tension on the field, I feel like you can feel it. You can see it through the screen for us up here in the booth.
Nice drop by Frelick to frame that one, 3-2.
Although both teams are competing right now, answering back over and over again, neither team looks extremely confident. Both teams seem to be pretty tense.
I don't think you can be comfortable right now if you're either side with the lead, or you have to be confident in your ability to come back in this one if you're down in this instance. Little looper up in the air, and it is caught by Davis. So she secures out number 2. And now Lotus, who had a bases clearing double in the 5th, will prepare to hit.
Lily Walker looking to get her team out of this inning without any further damage. They've lost the lead. Now 9-8 ball game Louisville, but there's still 2 more opportunities for Duke to score, and that needs to be the focus. Great pitch by Lily Walker. This is what I have wanted to see from her all game, and really from the Duke pitching staff all series, is consistently getting ahead. And we see this not yet consistently, but in this at-bat with Lily Walker with the go-ahead 0-1 pitch.
That one sweeps outside, count even at a ball and a strike. In danger are the Blue Devils of seeing Louisville bat around on him here in the top of the 6th.
We see Sarah Goddard now playing that hole right over second base here. You can see at the bottom of your screen, number 23 coming in from right field, looking to help defend the slap.
Out to Goddard, she'll throw across, and that will get us out of the inning. But Louisville scores 3 more. The Cardinals plating the runs to take a 9-8 lead as we move to the bottom of the 6th. Some hardy souls have hung in there for 12.5 innings of softball today on a chilly night. Don't yawn, it'll become contagious, and then everybody will be doing it. And right now, that fan feels like the Cardinals' future is so bright, she's wearing her shades.
It's got to be the only reason, because it's dark outside.
It is very dark out, yes.
A really long day for both teams. Doubleheaders are tough, both physically on the body and mentally staying focused. But that's exactly what Duke needs right now, is focus. Down by 1 run. They have 10 hits on the day. There's no problem with their bats thus far. Need to execute in late innings and be able to answer the 3 runs from Louisville at the top of the 6th.
Giselle Tapia in an 0-1 hole. That's called a strike now. She's down 0-2 in the count. Sam Boo, who all of a sudden is pitching with the lead.
Coach April has continued to throw different pitchers in the circle for Louisville, not giving up until she finds someone who's able to get the job done.
That went off the glove at third of Ornelas, and aboard is Tapia.
Incredible attempt by Ornelas. That would have been an ESPN play for sure. Able to bat it down, and who knows, maybe that could have been a double for Tapia, so at least she was able to keep it in the infield. Incredible range by Ornelas. You can't fault her there. Great, great effort.
Tapia aboard. Duke is going to send Kelly Torres to the plate. And so Torres, RBI base knock, a double back in the 3rd inning. Struck out her last time. 2 hits today.
Great eye by Torres, making Sambu throw her a strike. We've talked about it on both sides of the mound today, having a really tough time getting that lead hitter out. Torres not liking that pitch. I like her being selective earlier in the at-bat, making Sambu execute and throw strikes to her.
Boo's 1-1. Popped it up on the infield. Coming over into the circle from first is File, 1 away.
Exactly what you want if you're Louisville. Runner is not able to advance. No runner in scoring position yet.
Next up, number 4, Anna Gold.
Anna Gold. Home run for her last time. She scored a couple of runs today. It was her 8th home run of the season. And that put the Blue Devils ahead in the 5th.
Normally in a situation like that, it wouldn't be surprising if they intentionally walked Anna Gold for how hot she's been in the past 8 games. However, because Rodriguez is behind her and has also been producing, you can't do that. So kudos to Rodriguez for being able to force Louisville to have to pitch to Anna Gold, because the last thing you want is runners on first and second with Rodriguez up. Becomes a little bit of a messy inning like we've seen in so many of these innings so far tonight. Great eye by Gold, not chasing. Outside low pitch. Waiting for something in her wheelhouse. Not sure that Sambu is going to give her that pitch.
2-1. And she's nowhere near setting up anything for her here, and now it's 3-1.
Great scoop by Sarah Gordon, stopping Tapia from being able to advance to second base on what could have been very easily been a pass ball.
Walked her on 5 pitches.
Yeah, that looked to me like somewhat of an intentional walk there without saying so. Again, Rodriguez has been doing a great job this series. That's probably why Coach Young has her behind Anna Gold.
Let's see what Kyrie Rodriguez does here. She singled and would end up scoring on that 3-run double by Davis that put the Blue Devils ahead by 2 runs.
We're seeing the same thing on both sides of the mound, both for Duke and Louisville, having a really hard time getting ahead in the count, requiring both pitchers to throw more over the plate. which is why we've seen so many runners on both sides of the inning throughout the entire game, really.
Rodriguez lays off that one, and now it's 2-1.
Great hold. I love how she started to attack it, then saw the ball was drifting out of the strike zone, held her back. Great job by Rodriguez. Rodriguez, a catcher herself, she knows the strike zone today. She knows that ball's a little low, maybe a questionable strike for some umpires, but definitely low today. Making Sambu pitch to her with Vega behind her.
Takes it for a strike here. The count fills up.
Great job by Sambu, staying in this at-bat, knowing she has Vega right behind Rodriguez.
Fouled it back. So we'll get the 3-2 from Boo again. Duke with 2 on, the tying run out at second base in the form of Tapia.
You'd way rather have Vega come up with 2 outs rather than bases loaded, 1 out. If you're Sambu, you're really trying to hold on to this at-bat.
Hit in the air. Going to be a play for the center fielder, Otis.
Great throw by Otis. Tapia not being able to move forward, too shallow of a hit. Great execution by Sambu. And now Vega, someone who has been so clutch for the Blue Devils this entire series.
Vega with an RBI today, couple of base hits. Grounds this one to second. Did she beat it out? No, they say she's out. See if the Blue Devils decide to appeal. They will not. Vega hustling down the line. Got thrown out by a step. Sydney Ramiro, Olivia Watkins, and Coach Young, brain trust for the Blue Devils. Cole Schaefer, their volunteer assistant. Upcoming docket for the Blue Devils, JMU this Wednesday in the midweek. The series at UNC, you can see that on the ACC network. Liberty at home on the 21st, and then Florida State for a series at home. Next time the Blue Devils will be playing that game on the 24th, ACC Network. ACC Network Extra for the games on the 25th and 26th against the number 6 team in the country, the Seminoles.
Yeah, we heard over the loudspeakers earlier today that the Florida State series is almost sold out for the Blue Devils. Obviously going to be a really great ranked matchup for the Blue Devils. A tough schedule, no doubt, and obviously North Carolina and Duke being school rivals, that's always going to be a really intense series.
Do you just stay silent during that series? Do you just kind of toe the line? How does that work for you?
No, I don't. I root for Duke. I consider myself a Duke softball alumni, but it's a lot of fun to watch. I still have a friend who coaches on the North Carolina softball team, so it's always really enjoyable, and again, just a really big fan of the color blue.
It's the best way to be, right, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see here now if Lily Walker can hold off Louisville from scoring any more runs.
Play with the infield in. It's a bang-bang play to retire Garrity there.
Great job by Vega. That's a really hard ball to convert into an out because of how choppy it was. It took so many bounces before getting to her. Really quick transition, excellent on-point throw, and from as close as it was a rocket, so kudos to Tapia for being able to hold on to that ball.
We're going to have a review, however. What the umpires are seeing. Yeah, she might have beat it out. Looks like she did.
Yep. That to me looks like indisputable evidence to be able to overturn the call.
Quick review, and it's a base hit. So now Otis to the plate. And that out call has been overturned. So Lily Walker, who's got a couple of wins in the series, will deal with Corby Otis here. Otis has reached 3 straight times, a hit, a walk in the 4th, and then 1 in the 6th. 1 for 2 officially today.
Louisville doing an excellent job of getting that leadoff runner on over and over and over again, applying so much pressure to the deep defense and Lily Walker.
Otis has scored a pair of runs, stolen a base, so it's been an active day for her. Hitting streak extended in this one. Walker starts her with strike 1. Punts it foul, and she's in an 0-2 hole. Runner was going on that one. I think when you look back at this, if this result holds for the Blue Devils, you got to look at the 7 walks that pitching surrendered today.
Yeah, it's all about the unearned runs, the 7 walks, 2 errors, not being able to execute with bases loaded, but Duke does still have one more attempt.
This one between the wickets at short. It's going to be a 2-bag error for the Cardinals, and Otis into scoring position.
First error we've seen this weekend from Baker at shortstop. What you're seeing right now, I think, is a young team that is starting to feel the pressure. It's coming down to the wire. Louisville has not let up the entire day. They've been taking a really aggressive approach to this game in particular. Only 7 hits, but they've been able to take advantage of the mistakes made by the Duke defense.
Well, right now out there with the Ducks on the pond, that is some welcomed insurance for the Cardinals.
Not a bad pitch by Walker, just a little bit low there in the zone. If you're Louisville, this is where you get the insurance runs heading into the bottom of the 7th. Great pitch by Walker, almost identical to the first pitch, just slightly higher, allowing that to come up to the knees and be a strike.
2 balls and a strike, 1 down, 2 on for the Cardinals. Infield hit and then an error. That's in, and 2-1. All the different pitchers you could throw at the opposition, there's an advantage to that, and Coach Young was talking about that prior to the series for Duke. In the air, and it is going to be dropped up against the wall, and 2 runs will score. Gordon on third base.
See Davis having trouble catching that long fly ball in right field. We'll see it here now. She has to go back quite a bit, really close, thinking it might go over the fence, and almost just reaches too high for that ball. Louisville being able to score 2 more runs, a lot more insurance now, leading 11-8. But another error, which seems to be the story behind Duke softball, especially in this game, if not this series, although they've been able to find a way in the first 2. It's going to be really difficult in the bottom of the 7th to come back these 3 runs. 3 runs and no one out with a runner on third.
Yeah, they haven't put the error up on the board yet, but I think that it's undoubtedly got to be called an error. File 1-0. I was going to say, before Louisville plated those 2 runs, you're looking at, it is nice to have some variety. It is nice to have different pitchers you could go to, but think one of the things you might have to be concerned about is who's the pitcher that you can give the ball to kind of be your stopper right now for Duke.
Yeah, and I think that has been Lily Walker in previous games. It's always hard when you're coming to face a team for your third time in 2 days. They know what she throws. They've seen her before. They all have their timing down. It requires Lily Walker to execute the pitches almost perfectly to be able to
throw home. They'll tag out the runner.
Great job by Baker at shortstop there. A little bit of a silly decision from the runner at third. You have no outs. I think you'd much rather an out at first than an out at home plate, because now there's not that runner in scoring position. A little less pressure for the Duke defense and Lily Walker. Lily Walker doing a good job of living at the knees when she's able to execute. But as I was saying before, I think it's really difficult to come in 3 times in 2 days and really give a different look.
That ball down in the dirt to Roby. Wild pitch, and File will take second base. Ball and a strike here to Taylor Roby, who's already blasted a home run in this series.
Well, at this point, too, with 11 runs scored, it feels like almost everyone on the Louisville offense has contributed in some way during this game. But Roby is certainly someone who applies more pressure than most with her ability for the long ball, already hitting home runs this weekend. Lily Walker knows she has to be especially careful with Roby.
Strike at the knees, evens the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Walker picking up wins in the first 2 games of the series. Came in, inherited a situation that Kurt had put him in with runners reaching. Back and rallied, but that one's going to be called a ball, and it fills up the count. But now Walker on the hook for a loss here.
Roby is not chasing anything that's out of the zone. She's being selective, and she's forcing Lily Walker to put something in the zone that she can hit.
That one blasted, and that one gone.
Incredible at that by Roby, waiting for her pitch, requiring Lily Walker to throw something in her wheelhouse, and she saw it and she executed, blasting her home run. There's a reason she is the reigning home run champion at Louisville, coming in clutch multiple times this weekend with home runs.
Roby touches them all, a 2-run shot, and it's a 4-run inning for Louisville. Wow.
Now batting number 22, Daisy Hess.
She just muscled that one out, didn't she?
She did. She did an excellent job. It's what she does best. There's a reason that she's at where she is in the lineup. She seems to love the pressure, both in the circle and up to bat.
That's fouled out of play for Daisy Hess.
And really helping Sam Boo out there. They now have a 5-run lead going into the bottom of the 7th. That has to make Sam Boo feel incredibly comfortable to go back out there and throw her stuff.
So how about this for Louisville? Got beat last night. Lost the first game of the doubleheader here today. And then came out, could have very easily kind of packed it up, but they didn't. And they've been aggressive all day long here in this, or all evening long in this game 3.
Yeah, if Louisville is able to hold on to this lead throughout the 7th inning, this will be a really quality win for them. Coach April has been looking for that fight and that scrappiness in her team, and she is no doubtably seeing it in this 3rd game tonight.
Most runs that the Cardinals have put on the board since the 13 that they hung on Bellarmine back on February 28th. They have 15 in a game this year against then number 23 UCF. 3 balls and a strike here to Hess.
Really great pitch there by Walker, living at the knees. Trying to just get out of this inning. Only 1 out. She still has 2 more outs to go. Looking to capitalize on this 3-2 count.
10 runs over the last 3 innings for the Louisville offense. This one is going to be poked foul. Pickle Winkler is on deck.
This has been a really long day for both teams. Really hard to keep your focus for so many hours. But right now for Lily Walker, she really has to fight to get through this out. And that's exactly what she does. Strikeout swinging. Earning her 2nd out of the inning. 1 more before Duke is able to go and get one last chance to come back. Down 5 runs.
First strikeout for Walker. Duke pitchers have combined for 7 strikeouts today.
Walker trying to execute here. 1 ball. Trying to find her way into the strike zone, something that has been really difficult for the pitchers today. But the good news is for both teams, yes, they have things to work on, but it is a really long season and they still have a lot more games to play. Regardless if you're Louisville or Duke, there are a lot of learning lessons that come out of the weekend, and it will be how well can they adjust after this weekend. That will mean so much to both teams moving forward in the season. Duke doesn't have too much time to bounce back, especially after this game today. Playing JMU on Wednesday and a 3-game series against North Carolina next weekend. Really great teams are able to adjust very quickly, and we'll see what that looks like for Duke in the upcoming games.
For Louisville, they'll stay in North Carolina. They'll play a midweek against Charlotte coming up on the 14th.
And Charlotte is a team that gave Duke a run for their money. Duke ended up winning that game 5-4 in 9 innings on Wednesday, so that will definitely be a tough matchup for Louisville.
And then Pitt at home next weekend. Back-to-back strikeouts to end the frame, but 4 more on the board for Louisville. Some needed insurance here as Roby goes yard for the 2nd time today. There's that run that we told you about that the Cardinals will have. Charlotte, Pitt, and then at Eastern Kentucky on the 21st.
Duke has to really work here not to press. No one can be the hero here, being down by 5 runs. The goal has to be to pass the bat. You see Coach Young there, knowing what's up ahead for this Duke team and what it will take in order to get back those runs in the 7th inning.
Game over 3 hours old, or nearing that point. Here's one fouled away, and it's 1-2 for Cameron Jackson. Frelick is on deck. Frelick had a homer in the fourth. Well, that seems like days ago now, doesn't it?
Yeah, this has been a long game. We're now 3 hours into game time here at Duke Softball Stadium. Jackson being able to even the count to 2-2. You know, if you're Sam Boo, you've got to feel really good right now. Feel really free to throw your pitches.
Back to Boo. Bobbled, regained, and then throws to first for the first out of the bottom of the 7th inning.
Hard hit by Jackson, but right back to Boo. She's able to recover from bobbling. She takes her time, able to make a good throw over to first base.
Frelick walked in the 5th, and home run in the 4th, as we mentioned, 1 of 2. Takes ball 1, does Francesca Frelick. Started in right, ended up coming into the game mid at bat as the catcher. So shifting positions defensively.
I talked about being where your feet are earlier in today's game. It is the only way that Duke has a chance of being able to come back these 5 runs in the bottom of 7th. You can't think about anything but the exact pitch ahead of you.
Both teams have left 8 runners on base in this game.
The thing is if you're Duke right now, are you frustrated about the current score? Absolutely. But there are positive things to bring out of this game. 11 hits from the Duke team. Sure, there's some things on defense that they need to be able to clean up, but there's definitely things they can take out of today's game, whether it's a win or loss, into next week. And again, you have to have short-term memory because they're back again on Wednesday. They have no time to really recover. You have to have short-term memory, be able to flush the losses and the wins, and be able to go in confidently, because you average about 2 days of rest before you play in college softball. Frelick being able to battle here, a 3-2 count.
Hit in the air, going back, it will be gone. Frelick, her 2nd homer of the day. It looked like a carbon copy of what we saw in the 4th.
Incredible job by Frelick, waiting for her pitch. It's exactly what we saw earlier today. No one single person is going to win this game, but Frelick is helping the Duke offense out, shortening that lead by now 4 runs. Absolutely crushing the ball today. And that adds to what I was saying just a moment ago about the positives to take out of today. Regardless of a win or loss, there's a lot they've done right. There's a lot of players who have really stepped up. And if they're able to reduce or eliminate the errors and execute more on the mound, Duke softball will be in a really good position. And same goes for Louisville. They've had 9 hits today. They've struggled with pitchers. They've gone through quite a few pitchers today. Errors, running errors. But all in all, both teams, if they're able to tighten things up, they're both going to be extremely competitive this season in the ACC.
Davis fouls that one back. Now she's down in the count 0-2. Last time Duke had 3 home runs in a game came against Charleston Southern back in February.
Davis 3 for 4 today. Definitely someone Duke wants to have up right now.
Struck her out, and they were 2 away. So now Jennings will be the Blue Devils' last hope.
Beautiful pitch by Sam Boo, perfectly painting that river there. Not an easy pitch to hit, but the perfect pitch for 2 strikes. You can see she is loose on the mound, dancing as she has a 4-run lead in the bottom of the 7th.
Chopped foul. Tapia's on deck. Should it get there for the Blue Devils?
Same mentality for the Blue Devils, pitch by pitch, try to pass the bat. 2 outs obviously makes this very difficult, but softball is a pretty crazy game.
1-1, line drive, and Jennings keeps the game alive.
Jennings with a great punch into the outfield. We continue to see different things from her. Another thing for the Duke softball team to be excited by. She has so many different tools in her toolkit, and we're continuing to see different approaches that she's taking to the batter's box.
So now Giselle Tapia. Tapia had a single in the 6th inning. As an RBI on a sac fly. Hits this one out to Lotus. Bobbled, regained, and that will end it. Louisville salvages the series with a victory in Game 3.
A long, hard-fought series by both teams. Both have some improvements to make this week, but there's a lot of positives to pull from both teams this weekend. You can see Louisville pumped to leave this series with a win, Duke clinching the series win, and they'll both be back on Wednesday to continue their series.
For the Cardinals, it will be their 2nd win against the top 25 team this season. For Joe Farrar and our entire crew, I'm Patrick Johnson. Thanks for being with us. Doubleheader split today between Duke and Louisville. Blue Devils take the series, but the Cardinals with a big 13-9 triumph in the 2nd game. Have a great rest of your weekend. So long from Durham.